Ashley Massaro.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I heard that shit,
Oh no.
that set
Mm-hmm.
me off. And for anyone who defended that, there is a certain place that you're going that Vince will be. Let's start this off. For anyone who has defended this man for years and years to come, STFU forever. Because you were just, what's the word? Enabling
Mm.
this man to do whatever that he wants. I don't care if it's a business. I don't care about all of that. We're talking about human ethics right here.
Mm.
You let this man do whatever he wants, destroy wrestling, because at the end of the day, this is a tortured man. This is a tortured man who has done so many things that he likes, but in the end hates. But yet he does it because I can do whatever I want. And power, yeah, that could have worked, but you can't have a decency, an iota of a soul. All the people he supports, all the people he 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 has are not for this earth. I don't care who you are. And say what you will about Tony Khan, about how he's friends with people, but it's from a genuine place. If it's like someone, it could backfire.
Mm.
That's the thing. I promised myself I wasn't going to go after his doofus son-in-law, but well, he forced my hand. The absolute fact that you might be following the footsteps of your father-in-law, not because of bad ethics. Well, bad ethics. China says hi, by the way.
Mm.
All that's all I'll say, because if I go on one, you might be here for a while, but
Mm.
yeah. And funny, funny. We go to the Montreal school job. Brett's ex-wife said this to your face. God's going to God's going to cut you down. And Brett. I was this close to liking you. I mean, technically, I already liked you since you got screwed over, but you and your family stood behind Vince. And later on, you just abandoned poor Martha Hart after she lost her husband to a mistake, to a freak accident that WWE caused. Shows volume that she doesn't associate with any of it.
Yep.
And when it comes to Vincent, guilty or not guilty, it's like you said, he will never able to show his face ever into the company that he took from his own father. Not given, took. What did you do? Despite your business decisions, all you've done is almost destroy wrestling. Not because of people involved, but a hive mind of people you have brainwashed, saying WWE is the only good wrestling show. Hello, WCW. Hello, ECW. And to an extent, hello, TNA. And now, hello, AEW. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're guilty or not guilty. But Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and I'm on record for this, I hope you suffer. Simple as that.
Damn. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I've been
So
holding that in for so long.
I can imagine.
Yep.
So Stephen, your 2 cents.
I may not be a fan of wrestling, but even I can see that the man has done dirty. And considering a few things that only made me aware of in the past, it may actually, there were a few things that actually started clicking to me in terms of the allegations, especially when it comes to this place, which I'm just mentioning in the Discord chat.
Oh boy, yeah. That was
Yeah,
that was a
and
that was a clusterfuck.
considering he has some sort of what's the word, obsession with going to the place, yeah, a lot of questionable things start adding up. Well, for me anyway.
Yep.
Not even. I'm not going to spend much more time on this because Raiden's pretty much summed up what everyone is saying at this point. But McMahon, you've done the dirty, and now you're going to pay for it. Not even hell has a spot for you because you've just done that bad.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got to say on the matter.
Yep. I will say in closing, before we move on to something else, it does mean now a lot of historical segments, whether they be good, bad, indifferent, or meme-worthy. Anything with Austin versus McMahon, although Austin stunning Vince is going to have a slightly sweeter taste now because it's just like, yeah, I'd like to have done that as well. The whole "it's me, Austin, oh son of a bitch" meme, that's gone. That'll be essentially erased from history. Anytime he just gets red faced and what have you, is like, that's gone. So that's segments with The Rock gone, that's segments with Taker. It's not to say that any of these wrestlers will have any historical moments left. No. That's not what it means. It's just during the Attitude Era, Austin versus McMahon was probably the biggest rivalry from that because it was promoter versus versus a rebellious champion. So that's, yeah, it's going to be a weird one. So it's funny. JR's soundbite from WrestleMania 17 is probably being looked at in a slightly more disturbing way. It's like, Austin is shaking hands with the devil himself. Or like, back then it was just for story. Now we're like, this is like, eyes sort of going left and right. This is awkward. But yeah, going forward on here, McMahon is going to be given the Benoit treatment. He will not be mentioned on here unless it's for historical and relevant purposes only, and it'd be like how Oni did with the WrestleMania retrospective or the B-side. He will put up a disclaimer. We are going to be talking about a specific wrestler that we don't mention. Dan's just saying, as much as I don't like to admit it, completely erasing McMahon from wrestling history would be easier said than done. Oh no, I completely agree, man, but it's to only mention him where historically it's relevant and accurate. So if it happens to say like WrestleMania 3 opens up with McMahon saying "Welcome to WrestleMania," because that actually happened. It's just like we're not going to be talking about the man in a positive light. We're just going to be saying this happened, this, move on. So yeah, even if he's proven innocent, which, to be fair, with the money he has, he can buy the best lawyers that money can buy, because when you're that rich, you could probably afford to get Johnny Cochran, if he is still a practicing lawyer, because he's the one who got OJ proven innocent in that trial, but that's like what, over 25 years ago, give or take. That's an actual question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read to inform he passed away years ago.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yeah, a few years back.
Oh, that's awkward. I didn't know that. But yeah, if McMahon could afford to get a lawyer of Johnny Cochran's caliber and capabilities, because when you're worth a couple of billion,
sorry to interrupt you. He passed away March 29th, 2005.
Ooh. Oh, R.I.P.
Also R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Yes, indeed. McMahon being worth a couple of billion, he could afford quality legal representation like that, because he can, because when you've got that kind of money, it's pretty much doable. But again, even if he gets proven innocent, WWE don't want him back, TKO don't want him back, because even if you're proven innocent, that story hangs around you. It's one of the reasons why Sir Cliff Richard emigrated to New York, because Stephen will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There are allegations being put against Sir Cliff Richard a few years back, and the BBC actually broke this news story before the police were raiding Sir Cliff's home, because he was at one of his holiday villas in Spain at the time when he heard about it, and he actually sued the BBC for defamation of character and false accusations. But because what he was being accused of, and I don't want to go to that on here because there's been enough negativity so far in this premiere episode, that he cut his losses and went to New York, and he's quite happy walking down the streets of Manhattan where maybe only one or two people recognize him, and he likes that. Because I think it's very, I don't want to say liberating, because that word sometimes can get taken in the wrong way, but it's very freeing.
Refreshing.
Yes, it's very freeing and refreshing to where you would have been hounded for weeks on end or even years. You go somewhere else where you're like, oh, hey, how are you? Because they don't know you. And it's like, that's, very relieving and very refreshing. So, to Sir Cliff, I hope, because he's got to be in his 80s by now. For the rest of his life, I say, enjoy it. Because the only thing Sir Cliff is guilty of is just being Sir Cliff Richard. A devoutee Christian and a man who practices a very clean way of living. And I say, more power to him. I wish more people could be like that, but it's neither here nor there. So, as I said in closing, going forward, if McMahon ever gets mentioned again on here, it'll just be for the fact that it's just historical relevance, historical accuracy, but he won't be talked about in a positive light because, again, even if he gets proven innocent, this story is always going to be hanging around him. And yeah, and that's it. And then on that note, we are going to move over to something a little bit. Right, you're going to stay on the. Oh, actually, no. There are a couple of. There's actually one more article, and this actually is in relation to Raw coming to Netflix, which I'm still surprised by with this. I think I'm actually going to put the music back. Actually, no, probably not the best idea to take the music off, put music back on just yet. Yeah. Netflix chief content officer responds to Vince McMahon allegations following WWE Raw acquisition. The final days of January 2024 will go down as one of the most pivotal weeks in WWE history. One day, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was being appointed to the WWE Board of Directors within hours of WWE Monday Night Raw landing a deal with Netflix. 2 days later, a new lawsuit accused Vince McMahon, the executive chairman of WWE parent company TKO, of sex trafficking. Roughly 24 hours after that lawsuit was made public, McMahon resigned from his role as TKO executive chairman. WWE soldiered on, producing the successful Royal Rumble Premium Live event. It's a pay-per-view. The PLE doesn't work. Pay-per-view works better. But questions about that looming dark cloud remain. Netflix CCO shuts down Vince McMahon WWE involvement. Netflix is looking past McMahon. Speaking during the next On Netflix event, Netflix Chief Content Officer Bella Bahara dismissed a question about how the streamer feels about the recent allegations against McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon, he's gone. He's not there, he's gone. McMahon's relationship with Netflix prior to his TKO resignation is unclear. While he acted as executive chairman of the company, there is no word on the part he played, if any, in landing Monday Night Raw on Netflix. President Nick Khan was most known as the primary negotiator when it came to WWE's television rights. McMahon's WWE power had been significantly dwindled in the years leading up to his resignation. In mid-2022, McMahon stepped down from his position as chairman and CEO during a sexual misconduct investigation. Months later, he retired from WWE altogether, leaving the company reins in the hands of Khan, daughter Stephanie McMahon, and Paul Triple H Levesque. In January 2023, McMahon used his majority shareholder power to reinstate himself to the board of directors, which infuriated one Madam President because what McMahon did was technically illegal. Citing a desire to help sell WWE to an external bidder. That month later, that followed saw McMahon slowly reassume the powers he had prior to his retirement. Upon WWE's sale to Endeavor and the subsequent merger with UFC that formed TKO, McMahon's WWE powers gradually regressed. Higher executives saw McMahon's meddling with WWE's management team and on-screen product as being outside of his defined responsibilities, which led to him exclusively contributing to TKO from the corporate side of things. His recent resignation erases all of his powers on paper. There are those that believe that McMahon's fingerprints remain on the WWE product via his former allies. Well, it's like the article says, we don't know how much. I'm sorry, but that mustache is really doing him no favors. And is it just me, or does his eyebrows look like they've been painted on? Because look at the stuff he's had on his cheekbones. That's Botox. That's Botox. We don't know what involvement he had. I mean, it's a great coup for WWE to go over to Netflix, because it means nobody's having to, switch cable providers and what have you. But it just looks like to me that Netflix are just like, he's gone, he's not there. Let's just move forward. I think they're just looking at it like that. And the fact, I mean, even Lid said something to the effect of, when McMahon managed to reinsert himself into the company with certain nights on Raw from February to April, said this has Vince's fingerprints all over it with certain segments and what have you, because McMahon hates the word wrestler and wrestling and title being used. He doesn't like WrestleMania being called the granddaddy of them all, which is like, no, that makes WrestleMania sound. I was like, no, it makes it iconic. It makes it legendary. That's the whole point. Freaking idiot. I have this to say. I respect and admire what the man built from a business standpoint, but I do not respect the person. Because again, knowing what he put Punk through, and he's like, no, the people want to see Rock versus Cena. Ray does a fan. I'm sorry, you're speaking for me? I don't want to see Rock versus Cena 2. First one was bad enough. I'll give the second match. Second match was slightly better. And I'm being generous there. Slightly better. But for that year, it would have been far better if you'd had Punk versus Taker for the title. And if Punk had made it to WrestleMania 29 as WWE champion, it would have been day 500 into his reign. But we'll never know. Raiden, I think you said like something similar a few years back. People try giving old Vinny, these ideas that could actually work. It's like, no, this could actually make it work better. But it's like, no, I know better. It's like, he got told by Shane years ago, let's buy UFC. They're not that big yet. We could, help make it a big thing. Oh, this will never become a big thing. Grows to be one of the biggest competitions the company's ever had, then merges. Like, you could have had this years ago. We don't want to run ECW as a separate thing, or streaming will never be a big thing. Netflix taps on the shoulder. Hello. The man is so out of touch with reality and with what works.
I believe the term is called hubris.
Yeah. Oh dear. Dan just said the mustache just adds to McMahon's sax offender persona. I was like, yeah. Because Automod came up, said, socks-based terms, and what have you. He also says, kind of like I respect Hulk Hogan the character, only just gives him like a very, lazy-eyed look, like, but not the actual Terry Bollea himself. No. I don't know. Anyone want to comment on what Netflix had to say regarding McMahon's allegations, or what we pretty much said in the previous articles speaks for itself?
Basically said everything at this point.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie.
If Netflix wants to, continue to kill off their business, let them. Even though there's a lot of shows that I still watch on that platform, which I still need to get back to. Cobra Kai season 5, which I heard the new season's gonna come out real soon. So, but anywho, yeah,
If
there's
you
that.
if you want a real good one to watch on Netflix, I do recommend The Dragon Prince.
I can't lie. I used to watch that. I think I got like I stopped at season 2 or 3. I'm gonna have to go back to that. I know one of the voice actors in there. Jack DeSena was
Mhm.
part of Avatar: The Last Airbender, so he's been pretty good on that. Speaking of Last Airbender, you have seen trailers from that?
Can't say I have. I'll say this sparingly because I've been adjusting to. Excuse me. Because I've been adjusting to a new schedule at work where it's kind of like a rota system each week. It's difficult to sort of adjust to a regular pattern, so it's why I haven't been doing any production work for real features because I'm just trying to find to get a rhythm going, and it's a little bit difficult when you have days off on different days each week and what have you. Um,
Mm.
and it plays hell with my sleep schedule, which is always fun. But no, I was just looking around one evening, and I think I binged watched something like the first 3 seasons, maybe the first 4 seasons of The Dragon Prince, and I'm like, this ain't bad. I like how it's kind of got a old school, new school look with regards to animation. I mean, like regular characters, like human characters, look like it's done with traditional animation, whereas anything from dragons or to when the Shadow Moon, the Shadow Moon elves, essentially camouflage courtesy of the moonlight. That looks like cell shaded or CG, and I just adore Rayla. She's one of those characters where you're like, oh, you, because some of the things she comes out with. I'm just gonna put picture on screen because we want to move away from old Vinny. No, because like I say, Rayla's a Shadow Moon elf on the series that's meant to be trained as like an assassin, but she's got a very awkward, positive energy, somewhat similar to Win a little bit. And my brother will probably like this because one thing I've noticed with certain different communities within the story, they have very regional specific accents. So regular humans range from American sounding to very eloquent English sounding accents. Shadow Moon elves have a very strong Scottish accent, whereas Fireblood elves, there's a French accent to it, and if you get Earthblood elves, oh, they sound like they're from Cockney Land or Australia. G'day, mate. And you're like, okay. Like, I don't know why you're going there with that, but all right. Dan just said, LA Knight versus MJ Knight from Mania 41. Let's make it happen. No, I'll probably get my ass kicked quicker than Bossman versus Rock at Survivor Series 98, which, by the way, folks, that match was only literally 3 seconds. Bossman comes into the ring, Rock rolls him up, 1, 2, 3, match done. You think I'm kidding? Look it up. But nah, I think Dragon Prince has got 2 more seasons before they wrap things up, and I'm hoping
Seasons. I really need to get into Sonic Prime.
Sonic Prime had its conclusion, and I felt like the saga trying to convince Nine, it dragged out a little too long. It's just like, I get the point. Sonic sees the good in everyone. I get that, but they were relying on it a bit too much. And I'm glad that the ending, got to where they wanted. We got both sides to meet in the middle and call it a day. And he was able to get back to his reality. But I was half expecting the likes of Rusty Rose, Ninetales, and and the Chaos Council to somehow get back into Sonic's world, and and you'd see Robotnik looking at all his cloak, all his doppelgangers, and be like, what's going on here? I felt like that was a missed opportunity, but that's just me. Right. Let's see. What can we go to next? Well, here's one article that's making its rounds. We're still on wrestling, but this is for a completely different reason. This is actually on the road to WrestleMania. I don't think this will be that controversial. And finally, I can put the music back on. Just so people are aware, we're listening to Low Fight Beats to Relax, and it's from Stomp's playlist. I'll leave a link in the chat a little bit later. But need something to lighten the mood. Dan, let me know if the music's a little too loud. Let's see. The Rock slaps Cody Rhodes in the face after he decides to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. Yeah, don't need that. WWE held its WrestleMania XL kickoff press conference tonight, February 8th, at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. There was a ton of hype all week long for this event, with the expectation that the main event at WrestleMania 40 would be officially announced. Is it Roman Reigns versus The Rock or Cody Rhodes? This has to be said. IRL or story, what business would Rock have had self-inserting himself into the main event of WrestleMania? Because Rock, I say this with kindness, you haven't been in the ring properly, probably not since 2002, because 2011, you were back for one match. 2012, one match. 2013, you were back for 3 matches. All right, you did slightly better, but if you want to be back in a title picture, come back full time for at least 6 months, just so you can actually work out the ring rust. Because, and I say this like it is, not to be ageist, but you're 51. Your time is gone. I don't know. The Rock was booed in the arena when co-host Pat McAfee brought up his name and his insults today about the Cody crybabies. Yeah. I will say, with regards to the situation with some of the Cody fans, now, the ones that are airing their disdain for Rock self-inserting himself and taking away essentially Cody's title shot and just leaving it that, not a problem. Threatening Rock's eldest daughter, not cool. You don't do that. I mean, Steve, it was getting to the point they were actually issuing death threats to his daughter, and it's like, that's not cool.
That old chestnut.
Here's the thing.
I hate that.
Here's the thing. First of all, no death threats, because that's just not cool. Air your disdain at The Rock, and only The Rock, fine. Don't bring his kids into it, because his kids are innocent. Leave them out of this. Fellow co-host CM Punk and Big E discussed whether or not Cody's hard work and success in the ring this year means he deserves the WrestleMania event over the Rock's box office draw. He won the Royal Rumble. That supersedes Rock being a box office draw. I mean, Rock is a big, valuable name. Not going to deny that. But he has not been an active competitor for 22 years. And as far as I'm concerned, like I say, he looks great. Looks like he's in great shape. But there's being in great shape, and then there's the ring fitness. And he hasn't been a regular competitor since 2002. Rock, give it up. Your time is gone. Even, well, Stone Cold didn't have a choice when to call it a day in 2003 because injuries caught up with him. So, you know, Triple H, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Becky Lynch all took to the stage throughout the first 30 or 40 minutes of the press conference before we got to the part everyone wanted to see. Raiden's favorite world heavyweight champion Seth Rollins was on stage and called out Cody Rhodes to finally make his decision, but the visionary was instead interrupted by Paul Heyman and WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. At this point, just call him the WWE Champion. Nobody cares about the Universal title. Even on the belt, it says Undisputed Champion. It doesn't say Universal. And I think Raiden will probably agree with me. The Universal title was despised from its inception until it was unified with the WWE title. The Tribal Chief said everyone should be talking about his decision because he's going to choose his opponent for WrestleMania. Roman then chose The Rock. That's not how that works. The Rock's music hit, and he made his entrance to confront Reigns. There was a mixed reaction for his arrival, although the boos grew louder when his music stopped playing and he started to talk about The Rock versus Roman Reigns being the biggest main event in WrestleMania history. The "We Want Cody" chants were met with opposing but quieter "No we don't" chants. The Rock took the opportunity to go after the Cody crybabies. He was greeted with "What?" chants in return. We mock the "What?" chants, but I think in that context, appropriate. He showed a graphic of the Bloodline family tree and said it's proof there's only one powerful and dominant royal family in professional wrestling. If you don't think that means The Rock versus Roman Reigns is the biggest main event in WrestleMania history, then it doesn't matter what you think. Yeah, he's heel. Whether you like it or not, the People's Champ versus the WWE Universal Champ, Bound by Blood, is the biggest main event in WrestleMania history. Roman and The Rock embraced. Cody finally came out and called bullshit on the whole thing, just like we all were. It's not up to Roman or The Rock to determine the main event of WrestleMania 40. Cody is the one who won the Royal Rumble. And he made his decision, and that decision is he chooses Roman Reigns. Cody said it doesn't matter who sits at the head of the table, when neither The Rock nor Roman haven't done any of the cooking of the last 2 years. Facts. Roman may have been here, but he was on more of a part-time schedule than Mr. Lesnar. That's the only time I'm going to mention him. Cody took a shot at the Bloodline's ancestry, and that didn't sit well with either Roman or The Rock. Yet it's never been an issue for Rock or Roman to take shots at Cody's lineage. Raiden, would you have said that hypocrisy is a bitch in that situation?
Man. There.
The Rock slapped the taste out of Cody's mouth, inciting a wild scene where Rollins got in on The Rock's face and WWE officials had to step in order to prevent a violent brawl. The scene on stage ended there, leaving the co-host to wonder what the hell is going on and what's happening next on the road to WrestleMania. Could it be a tag team match of Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins coming out way before we get to Rhodes versus Reigns at WrestleMania 40? And where does Cody's choice leave Seth Rollins and The Rock at WrestleMania? CM Punk had mentioned that The Rock is a member of the TKO board of directors, which might be a hint of corporate power play that still gets him added to the WrestleMania main event. Meanwhile, Big E reminded everyone that WrestleMania is a 2-night event, so maybe there's enough room for multiple matches to resolve the problem. The Rock and Roman Reigns crossed paths with Triple H on their way out of the venue, and they said he'd better fix it. This incredible piece of business was executed better than just about everyone could imagine, with The Rock's heel turn and massive ego giving Cody the clear path to insert himself back into the main event of WrestleMania 40 as the only hero of the story who everyone can root for. What do you think of the angle featuring Cody's return to the WrestleMania 40 main event? Let us know in the comments down below. Cagesiders. For one, this was a great distraction to the controversial story outside of the WWE. So, well played. And, Raiden, am I alone in thinking this? Or did this feel like early Attitude Era where the lines between reality and story were blurred?
Half and half, yeah.
Because normally when segments on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and heaven forbid TNA are done, you can tell it's scripted. Whereas this felt real. Because something about it just felt like this doesn't feel scripted. It feels like a shoot, but it feels authentic. And now Rock's a good actor, so you're able to tell whether he's putting something on and what have you, but this felt genuine. Dan just says, I thought it was funny how Punk said Cody should punch Rock in the mouth. I think at this point we all are, because Rock is a great heel. He hasn't done it for 21 years, so for him to make like this turn is like, okay. Because the last...
This is 2003.
Especially...
Which was possibly his best heel work ever.
And I remember Michael Cole saying this as clear as day when the Rocky sucks chants got going. He said, it has been some time since we've heard that echo throughout WWE arenas, because those who know, during the early days of the Attitude Era, when Rock was part of the Nation of Domination, the Rocky sucks chants were echoing throughout arenas because of the fact Rock would always be smiling and waving at the people just because he lost, and people saw through that. It's like, this is bullshit. It was like, why would you be happy you lost? And say what we will about Cornette, but people buy into characters when they're just being themselves, albeit with the volume turned up, but it's more authentic. I mean, Stone Cold is Stone Cold. I mean, alright, Steve Austin, the person, probably doesn't go stunning people in the streets if he doesn't get his way. And by the way, he actually did stun somebody and landed on concrete once. He's not doing that again anytime soon. It's like, he said that hurt for a while. Yeah, if you do a stunner outside the ring, folks, it does hurt. Because I actually gave my brother a stunner once, years ago. Me, him, and former acquaintance of ours actually had a wrestling match out in the field once. Don't ask. It was just something that we just did, and I gave him the stunner. At least I think it was him, because it's been a few years. But then what does he do? A few years later, he actually put me in Angle's ankle lock. Folks, that move ain't fake. That actually hurt for a while. There. But yeah. I'm trying to fault now. The whole segment felt authentic. And again, Rock, apparently even Triple H told him behind the scenes, don't do this, this is going to backfire. And it did. Because the fans have completely turned on him. And he'll probably find a way to self-insert himself just because he's a member of the board of directors. But as we've highlighted, Cody won the Royal Rumble. That means he gets to choose. And it's mirroring what happened 11 years ago at the 2013 Royal Rumble, because on Raw 1000, Rock gets told by The Office, and this is back in July of 2012, that the Royal Rumble, whoever is the WWE champion at that time, will go one-on-one with The Rock. And it was never revealed how Rock was given that title shot. It's just like, came out, I've got a title shot. And like, just like that. I mean, if Rock had competed on a match at Raw 1000 and he got himself number one contendership for the WWE title for the Royal Rumble, I'd say, okay, fine, you earned it, but he was just handed it. Whereas with this, you know, he self-inserts himself into the main event, and like, hang on a minute, Cody worked his ass off for this. If Cody had chosen Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, then fine, you know, Rock can self-insert himself and he can have his, you know, his self-congratulatory circle match with Roman Reigns. Like, oh, dear cousin, you're the greatest. No, you, dear cousin, you're the greatest. Oh, ha, 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 ha. And Reigns like, bruh, don't make me go over to TNA. Don't make me do that. And there's only like looking like you know, lazy-eyed. Don't go to TNA. You know what it did to me. And there's Madam President like, yes, please don't make two Onis. Oh dear. Dan just said, my father said, when I was younger, hard times make better men. Better men. Yep. But yeah. Long tangent over. It felt genuine. Felt authentic. And it's a distraction from IRL outside the ring. So yeah. Raiden, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna go for a mulligan, but like, I'll be short and sweet. It was cool, I guess. See where it goes, I guess. You know, Hill was a shock, but you know, sometimes WWE shocks you. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. You can tell by my enthusiasm, like, half of me doesn't care, half of me is like, it looks cool, but I always have that thought in the back of my head saying, I wonder how they're gonna fuck this up. But you know, that's them in a nutshell. So it's gonna go good, but I have a feeling it's not gonna go good. It's gonna look bad. But all in all, so far it's okay.
I mean, how they could mess this up even further. All of a sudden you hear gong, like, oh no, like, Taker, what are you doing here? You never faced me at Mania, Rock. You're supposed to be retired. You are right. And then just smoothly just, you know, goes back into the ground. Because, yeah. Okay. What to go to?
Funny, speaking of Undertaker, I mean, next month, it's gonna be Sting's last match.
Yeah. Considering he's been in the ring, he's had a career now for 4 decades now, I think. So, yeah. Well, considering he was supposed to have been retired from WWE around 2016, 2017, but, you know, is what it is. And of course,
guys at 60.
And Triple H takes shots at The Rock in WWE SmackDown opening. At the WrestleMania 40 kickoff event in Las Vegas, there was an intense standoff between The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. While Roman declared Rock as his WrestleMania opponent, Rhodes interrupted, saying it was BS. He believes he gets to make the choice on who Roman faces, considering he won the Royal Rumble and already made it clear. Rhodes made it personal when he mentioned how Reigns' ancestors would be disappointed in him. Rock didn't take too kindly to Rhodes bringing up his family, because he talks about Reigns' family, he's talking about Rock's. Rock then slaps Rhodes in the face, causing a heated on-stage confrontation that saw Nick Aldis, Triple H, and Seth Rollins attempting to break it up. Following the encounter, cameras caught up with The Rock and Reigns and Triple H backstage. A lot of BS, is that what it is? The Rock said to Triple H as he was interrupted, "You gotta fix it. Have him talk about our family again. That's what happens." And then Triple H says, "You're out of line." You never hear me say this too often, but I agree with Triple H. As he stood tall over Triple H with Reigns in tow, the former 16-time world champion didn't back down. Triple H is a former 14-time world champion. You're thinking of either Cena or Ric Flair. "If you don't fix it, we will. Have him talk about our family again," The Rock continued. "I'll slap his teeth out of his mouth." Triple H opens this week's SmackDown with an important message for the universe and people backstage. He says, "Somewhere along the way at the kickoff in Vegas, the road took a hard left turn and now the road is on fire. He wants to clear up any confusion to the WWE universe." The fans began chanting Rocky sucks as he does so, which he lets them do. He felt like there was confusion in the air. Perhaps some people don't know their role, so he wants to set the record straight. He says people asserted their authority when they don't have any. He doesn't care where they sit. There is one thing that is clear. The answers come from the place, and it's from Triple H. He confirms the main event will be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes in an undisputed WWE Universal Championship rematch. He alludes to some people backstage that will be disappointed by the decision, that maybe they won't like it, but it doesn't matter if they don't like it. At this point, he should have just said, "Rock, you don't have authority, I do." But he does it in a way whereby he's talking about him, but trying to not talking about him. I don't know. But Rock is supposed to be at this week's SmackDown with Reigns and Heyman, and no doubt Rock is going to somehow use some corporate power to self-insert himself and just be like, ugh. I don't know. And some are hinting that we might get Rock versus Triple H. Triple H had to retire because of heart problems. So the most Triple H is able to do is just go work out in the ring, because that's his lifestyle. So we're not going to see Triple H versus Cocky Rocky or Hollywood Rock anytime soon. And not to be funny, the last time Triple H was in a major match on pay-per-view was DX versus the Brothers of Destruction in WWE Super Show in Saudi Arabia. And Raiden, from what we've seen from highlights, that match was one of the worst tag team matches from four men that should have gotten out of the ring years ago. Especially Kane and Taker. I mean, great shape for guys their age, but it's just like, guys, stop. You're past it. And Shawn came... Now people say, "Oh, Shawn broke his promise. You know, he said he'd never come out the ring." He was offered $10 million for one tag team match. Look me in the eye and tell me that you would turn down that type of money. Raiden, would you turn down $10 million for a tag match?
Depends. But $10 million? I'd get my asking for that, but, you know.
Yeah. And also because we know Shawn's not that careful with money. I mean, if he was careful with money, he wouldn't have done that WWE Studios movie with Becky Lynch. I don't know. Raiden, your thoughts on what Triple H said on SmackDown? Is it pretty much what we're all thinking?
As a person who, I'm just gonna say it, despises that man personally. Listen, I can get the devils too. You may be right. all I gotta say about that.
Fair enough. Right. Let's list that as being done. Yeah. Yeah, we already did that one. That's the cola talking there. Ooh, just when we thought we couldn't get even more irate. Hang on.
Now.
Oh, all will be revealed. All will be revealed. Looney Tunes movie Coyote vs. Acme expected to be destroyed forever. Yep. The feel-good story of a cancelled movie being saved, well, it seems like that's not happening. Coyote vs. Acme, the Looney Tunes spin-off starring John Cena and Lana Condor, is back in trouble. The movie, which Warner Brothers Discovery has planned to scrap for a tax break, was saved after outrage from filmmakers and audience members on the internet. Only about a week after the initial cancellation, Warner's announced that they would take offers from other studios to buy the movie, and the internet cheered. Though it seems all offers came up short of what Warner Brothers was hoping for, barring a miracle, the movie is set to be shelved permanently and deleted. According to the Wrap, the network turned down offers from Paramount, Netflix, and Amazon to buy the movie, with Paramount's even including a theatrical release component. The report indicates that management lacks the will to keep going and just wants to put the situation behind them. CEO David Zaslav has still not watched the movie at all. The movie, which reportedly cost around $70 million to make, will net Warner Brothers between $30 to $40 million in tax breaks, even if they write it down as a complete loss. The same movie the studio used on a completely completed or nearly completed movies like Scoob, Holiday Hunt, and Batgirl. The studio wasn't willing to take part with a movie to a competitor for that same $40 million, although according to the Wraps reported, they wanted a minimum of $75 million. Why not just do a deal whereby, say, they did put it out as a theatrical release, they take about 10 to 15% of the box office profit. So say at the box office it gets 500 million. There you go, you've netted some money back. This was a possibility we raised back when the movie was thought to be saved. Warner Brothers had already decided the movie wasn't going back to make its money back, so we suspected it was an uphill battle to get it released by someone else. After all, it turned out to be a hit. After all, if it turned out to be a hit, it would be embarrassing for Warner Bros. If nobody was willing to pay $75 million, they can claim, see, isn't it worth that? Insiders speculate that the end of the fourth fiscal quarter, coming later this month, is likely to serve as Warner Bros.' excuse to finally drop the movie off the books for good. Moreover, they assume there won't be any kind of announcement and that the film will be just trashed and forgotten. For 3 years, I was just lucky enough to make a movie about Wile E. Coyote, the most persistent, passionate, and resilient character of all time, director Dave Green posted on social media back in November. I was surrounded by a brilliant team who poured their souls into this project for years. We were all determined to honor the legacies of these historic characters and actually get them right. Along the ride, we were embraced by test audiences who rewarded us with fantastic scores. I'm beyond proud of the final product and beyond devastated by Warner Bros.' decision. But in the spirit of Wile E. Coyote, resilience and persistence win the day. Warner Brothers, what are you doing? Or more specifically, David Zaslav, what are you doing? I mean, I get that times are tough and that you have to make some cutbacks. I understand that. But there's making cutbacks